All right. Are you all back? Did we all get cut off just a little while ago? Did
Second
we
time's
get
a
lose?
charm.
Did it just drop?
It did.
Well, that's crazy.
It
Okay,
is crazy.
that's crazy. Well, okay. So thank you all that are back in here again.
Yes, thank you guys.
Other shot uh, at this because obviously it didn't like what we were doing before. God
It's like what they
didn't like
say at church services when things happen. They're like, "There's demons in the sound system."
they're killing us, right? I know, right? Oh,
God disapproves of this live
that's
stream.
great. Yes. Yeah, little difficulties. There was always spiritual warfare. So obviously that's what happened. Um, so just to make sure, I took mine off the internet in case my internet was fun, and just doing the regular connection. So that being the case, let's just dive right into you, Becki. Let's talk about,
Okay.
because you seem pretty cool. So we'll talk with you. Um,
Okay.
First of all, I know you gave us a little bit of hint about yourself, but tell us a little bit about your deconstruction process with religion, and preferably like what brought it on, like what was the catalyst for making it happen, and how you handled that.
Um, there, there was a lot of issues in the church for years leading up to us having our dramatic exit. And there was times where I was like, I don't even want to go anymore. And the thought of not going to church was like something that I often would think about, but I was like, that is not possible for me. Like, I work for this church. I could never leave this church. My whole family's here. So I would just like push that thought to the side. I'm like, no, you press on. This is life. It's difficult now, but you'll get through it, and God's going to bless you for sticking to it, even though it's hard. And
Mm-hmm.
then and like that was just like the first part. It ended up getting worse. And if I mean at that point it was just like, how could this get even any worse? But it did. It managed to get worse. And it was because a mega church came in. I was part of a very small Wesleyan church. We were like a church of like 100. um and we really were like a tight knit family. Half of that was kids, and it was an amazing church. I loved it there, despite all of the stuff that was happening. I loved it, but the mega church came in and just totally commercialized all of it, took away the heartbeat, made it just an extension of them. There was a lot of outcry, but it was like, no, no, this is the good. This is good. What you guys had before, that's outdated, and no one wants that. No, your church wasn't going anywhere. Your church would have closed in 6 months. So it was all of that, and I was like trying to get on board with it. I'd had past affiliations with the mega church that came in, but boy, oh boy, did they do a number. And they just overworked me. I was a workhorse. I I was up and at 'em, doing something at all hours of the day, every day, going everywhere, doing everything. And I was just like, this can't be it. And I started when I knew, when I asked myself, like, what if I'm only going to church for my paycheck? It's like when you Google, how do I know I need a divorce? And it's like when you're Googling, do you need a divorce? So like that was like one of the first answers that came right up. And they're like, how do you know it's time to leave your church? Well, you're typing this, so that's like a big giveaway. Um, so we tried to do like we take a break from ministry. My husband was in like doing a lot. Our kids were never home. um it was our family was run ragged. So we tried to do a break, and they're like, oh yeah, we'll give you a break. But they were like, hey, there's this weekend long thing we want to do with the youth group. Can you guys head that up? And I'm like, we're on a break. I'm like Rachel and Ross from Friends. We're on a
That didn't
break.
go well for them either.
No, no. So we ended up leaving, and it was heartbreaking. It was like the rug was pulled out underneath of me. I had no idea. I lost so many people. It was a huge loss, huge identity crisis, because I'm just someone who's grown up in church and been told, women, go in the background, like find your spot back there. Go downstairs to the kids ministry. That's where you can serve. Or go down in the kitchen and get the stuff ready for the fellowship. Or be quiet during the business meeting because women ask the questions at home. And you live in our house until your dad gives you to the man you marry. Like very, very rigid upbringing. So, having the opportunity to be a pastor and be a communicating pastor who they paid for me to go to seminary, and I was rocking seminary and got awesome grades and loved it. And then to have it all gone, I was like, what do I do? Like all I have is the 3 people I live with now because it was coronavirus. And I was like, what do we do? Nothing. You don't do anything. So there was definitely like a faith crisis that was woven into that. And I was like, well, why did God let this happen? Like he's supposed to bless work, and bless church work. And it didn't make sense to me. And it was like really hard for me to come to grips with. There was no guarantee that just because I work in a church that I was under this banner of love from God. And that was really difficult for me to come to grips with.
That's a song, is Banner Over Love.
Oh, I know that song.
Yeah.
Didn't feel the banner.
No, there's no banner.
Yeah. So I call that season 1 because I was like, oh, I could never leave my faith. I could never fully question it, but like, God, what the fuck?
What the actual fuck? Yeah. Wondering what's going on. Okay, so you're in that first season. How did you and your husband handle that? Like, I'm sure there were a lot of conversations that took place. What did this look like? How did you handle it?
Well, the church, with how busy we were, really rocked our marriage. There was a lot of pitting against each other that the pastor would do, and it made our home life very complicated. So our marriage was it was rocky when we left, and then all of a sudden we're like locked in the home together with coronavirus. So it was like, it's do or die time. Like, we got to fix this. We got to fix it.
Yeah.
Or because it's broken. So that was like the main focus for us, was just reconnecting together. And
despite the challenges that religion was placing on you.
Yes. And just having church removed was a burden lifted, and we could just focus on us for once, and it was about us for once.
Right.
And that felt really good. And I freaked him out because I was in therapy and I was just trying to figure something out that I wanted to connect with, because I was like, worship music was ruined for me. I didn't want to listen to any sermons, like anything that was like church-y. I wanted nothing to do with it. And I was like, I'm supposed to worship God. And I don't even feel like I can pray right now. Like, what am I supposed to do? So I started looking into manifesting with the moon. I loved that so much.
What is that exactly?
So you follow the lunar cycles.
Mm-hmm.
There's 4. New moon, waning, waxing, full moon. And there's different things you do with each one. And it's just, I was too scared to do like tarot cards. So I did affirmation cards.
Right? I mean, those are the fruits of the devil.
I didn't want to go that far. So I did affirmation cards that I really liked, and they're beautiful. And I felt a lot of connection with them, because I just was like, I can't even like say a prayer. I need something to speak for me and like have a conduit for God to speak to me. So I did that. And I said to my husband, what if I looked into being a Christian witch. And he was like, hold on, what are you talking about?
Are those two words even go together? I mean, what does that look like?
I mean, it's just, if you think about it, you say a prayer that's like the same thing as casting a spell, and there's lighting candles and having intention go behind the candles. There's intention behind cleansing your home, and same thing with witchcraft. And it's strikingly
Similar.
resembles each other a lot when you get down to the bottom of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just it was like a rebellion. I really wanted to just kind of like flip it so it looked nothing like how it looked when I left the church. That's
Okay.
what I needed. I needed something new. I didn't stay there. It served me for a time. No new voodoo doll. I promise I won't cast any hexes while I'm on this live.
No, well, we appreciate that uh, as
I
well.
don't do that anymore. It was a great landing point for me at that point because I just needed something to connect me with the greater
Mm-hmm.
the greater universe at that point.
Sure. Sure. I understand that.
So it served me for a time.
So you get through this COVID time, or you're moving through it. You've had some really hard conversations, I'm sure, with your husband. Religion is really a bad taste in your mouth right now. I can relate to that because the last few Christmases, Christmas music is just,
I'm scared about Christmas this year.
oh my God, I just couldn't listen to what child is this and all these things because it warped me, right?
I'm
So
so scared.
what was the main reason? Like, is there even a main reason that you left the church? Like, what is it that pushed you to that point?
So we went back to church this last November because I was like, we were watching stuff online, and I was like, maybe I want to try it again. And my husband supported that. And so we did. We found a church to try out and go to. And I started reading all these deconstruction books while we were there. And the number one thing that just ruined my faith is this book, Pagan Christianity.
Oh, I have not read that one.
You
What?
need to.
How did it ruin your faith?
So it kind of breaks down all of the practices, the what's the word I'm trying to think of? The just like the ceremonies, the Lord's Supper, the art, the buildings, the hierarchy,
Oh,
tithing. I mean, it hits all of them. Personal relationship with God, and like the authors are Christians. They're like, they're not trying to make people not believe in God, but they're trying to make people understand like a lot of what we do is man-made, and it's constructed by dudes who just want money and power.
yeah.
And
Sure.
I was listening to it, and I got to the point where it was talking about the Lord's Supper, and I was like, seriously, the Lord's Supper? Like, nothing is safe. Nothing is safe.
No, not when you're hitting on the Lord's Supper.
Oh, nope. So that just kind of started things. And then another big thing was tithing. They talked about tithing, and I was like, I was a very adamant tither. Adamant, because I was
Yeah.
scared what would happen if I didn't tithe.
Yeah, same here. Yeah. You weren't.
And
It was going to be a curse. You didn't.
yeah.
Yep.
And then this book is like, no to tithing. Tithing is not new church, New Testament church whatsoever. And I was like, oh, love you too, Heather.
Oh, just the girl, Pastor. Thank you.
Love her. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the straw that broke the camel's back was we went to church the week before Easter, just this past year. And he preached a sermon on tithing and used Lazarus being raised from the dead as a talking point for tithing. And I was like, I'm done. I'm absolutely done.
How
If
did
you
that?
can, what?
I don't understand how that works.
I don't either. Yeah. But after that, I was just like, I can't do this anymore. And I had to have a one of 8 million hard conversations with my husband where I was just like, I cannot go to church anymore. The book is called Pagan Christianity. This is what it looks like. You can get it on Audible and on Amazon. He must have sent it to his religious freak family members. Good luck with that.
Yeah, have fun with that. I'm sure they'll.
But yeah, after that, I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I can't. Church is freaking me out. Church is triggering me. I cannot have it be something week in and week out in my life right now. So that was kind of it for me.
Okay, that's valid. It's interesting because everybody I talk to has a different turning point when it comes to deconstruction.
Yeah.
Mine was largely, I started finding holes in the theology. And so I started studying the manuscripts and, started reading books that I wasn't supposed to read.
Oh, yeah.
Started finding all these holes, and it was like my world was blown. And when, it's once you open that door, there's no turning back. I mean, it's down, you're following it. So that's a great point for you. It was just a little bit different.
Yeah.
For me, that's where I had to find my peace.
Yeah.
So you've left the church. How did that? Hey, there's somebody who has my same thing. Thank you. How? That's rare, actually. That's the first person that has actually chimed in like that about how has that impacted your deconstruction? Impacted your extended family?
Oh boy.
Yeah, because you and I talked. I lost parts of my family. Like they don't talk to me anymore. So I'm going to hell. What did you do to yours?
So I haven't lost family, but I have had really bad conversations with my mom. My mom found my account, also your daughter's, lost it on me.
Oh, I bet.
Lost it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She said some pretty horrible things to me.
Oh.
Stuff that I had to, know that it wasn't true. And she apologized to me. It was a great boundary practice though, because I was like, Mom, this conversation isn't healthy, and I'm just not going to allow you to speak to me like this. So I'm going to get off the phone now, and we can talk again when things have calmed down.
Good for you.
So I did that. We talked through it. We've had multiple conversations since then, and she's kind of accepted it. But that's kind of my mom's MO, is to like fully freak out, and that's just how she is.
That's how the quick changes or drastic changes.
Okay. Yeah. So she was very on brand with that. It was just like, I didn't realize that you could still do that to someone when they're 33 years old.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that happened. And I was like, am I still in high school? Because this is what it feels like.
Oh, yeah, that's the way I felt. I was like 48, 49, and my mom's like, okay, yeah, no, you need to come back to Jesus, and it's like, I'm a grown-ass adult last time right? I mean, I'm sure you felt the same way.
I definitely did. My best friend since I was 5 has distanced herself from me, and that's been heartbreaking. That's been really difficult for me, just because we've always been so close, and now that I've switched things up, it's definitely dented things, and sometimes it's awkward, and we've had one pretty big spat about it, but it was the same opportunity for me to put up boundaries, but also at the same time have a lot of compassion for her, because this is me, like this is my journey, and it's affecting other people. But and they're going to respond how they respond, but if they're people who are valuable enough to you and worthy of working through it with them, if they mean that much to you, then it's worth it to help them and have compassion. but there's other people who you're just going to be like, move along.
Okay, let me stop you there because I'm really interested. I asked this basically of everybody. Now that you brought that up, what are those key things that you look for in the people that are allowed in your fence per se? Like you just said, the people that you kind of like whatever, and then there are those key people. Um, what are your qualifications for those people, if I can use it or say it that way?
I need to see effort on their part of trying to have empathy for me and understand what it is that I'm going through, and that it's not, and that they're not viewing it as me attacking them. When I see that understanding, then I'm like, okay, we can vibe. Like, we don't have to agree on stuff, but we can vibe. And I'm very grateful for the people that I have found to vibe with, because I know that I have more than most.
So let me ask you this on top of that, because I noticed this, and I'm interested if you've noticed this as well. Um, did you find that when you left the church that the majority of people really didn't ask you why?
Okay, I call it my apology tour. I didn't
Oh,
apologize, but I did call the people that meant the most to me, because I did get text messages when I left. I
okay.
got text messages and phone calls, and then there was some specific people that I called, or we even went to their house and told them. Just expecting relationships to maintain. Um, but people did call me and they were like, "Well, why are you leaving?"
Oh,
And at that point, I did not feel like I could say, "Because your pastor is an asshole." I just said, "It's personal. It's what's best for our family."
you gave them the blanket kind of
I
answer,
did.
and that's
I
okay.
told them that. I said, "I'm not comfortable being honest with you at this point," because I had just been in my car accident,
Yeah.
and it was, I just wanted to go away.
Okay. No, I get it, and that's the thing is I contacted a few people that I cared about as well. Um, just enough that I cared about, and out of even some of those people I cared about, no one asked why. It's like they're scared to know why. Instead it was like I'm crying tears of sadness for you. You
Yeah.
know, come back. Jesus still loves you. Yada yada yada. And then there were a couple people. Those were the ones that asked me and wanted to really find out why. And I feel like that's one of those markers, like you said, that was like, okay, there still might be something here in this relationship
Right.
because
And
they cared enough to ask.
yeah, there was one family in particular that we were very close with, that we went to their house to tell them. And we were as honest. I was absolutely in tears over there telling them that we were leaving. And all they cared about was us finding a new church to go to. And I was like, I just crashed my car. Like, going to church right now is not on my radar whatsoever. And they were like, just don't forget this, the assembling of the saints. And I was like, and then they were like, can you please talk to our daughter about this, since you're her youth leader? And I was like, why do I have to do that? So it was like I was met with like this, like, selfishness on their part, where all they cared about was how this was affecting them. And I was like, this ain't gonna pan out. And lo and behold, it did not pan out. They're gone.
Yeah, I get that. So what I'm hearing, which is really interesting, because I'm fascinated. So you and I have not talked about this yet, and this is one of these questions that we don't have planned. So you left the church. Obviously, there was a lot of heartache and struggle with the pastor. Have you maintained spirituality, or where's that in your life now, if it is there?
Um, so this was a question, or this was something I just worked through with my husband, because he's my best friend. He's the one that matters the most to me. His opinion and everything that, we've built our life together matters. Um, and I went to therapy about this, because I was having like this crisis, because I was like, I am stressed out trying to make God make sense to me, and trying to make spirituality make sense to me, and prayer to make sense to me, and church to make sense to me. I'm going crazy because it's all I think about. And I said, I need to not try to make it make sense anymore. I need to let it go. And I was like, I need to not have that weight on me right now. And my therapist was very supportive of me, of course, and was like, you need to do what's best for you. And I knew that's what I needed to do. And I told her, I said, I'm super scared about doing this because it's a form of rejecting God, which is just like the number one thing that's been like beaten into me is you reject God, you go to hell.
It's the
And
black the Holy Spirit in a sense. It's the unpardonable sin. It's yeah.
yeah. Right now I am just trying to figure me out. I'm focusing on connecting with me and being in tune with me more than I'm trying to obtain any type of spirituality. I just really want to be the mom I really want to be, and be the wife I really want to be, and be me that I really want to be. And so I told my husband that we went out on a date, and I just was very honest with him. And I said, I need to take a break from God because it doesn't make sense to me right now. And so that's where I am.
How'd he react about that?
Very supportive.
Good.
Very supportive, there for me. You know, he's always there for me.
Good.
And I'm very appreciative of that because his support means everything.
Well, it's interesting. You want to take time for yourself, and let me say this: that in a IG live I did with Becca,
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that one or not, but she made reference to her deconstruction process as just taking a breather at spots.
Yeah.
You know, and I thought that was a very awesome thing to say at that, because a lot of times we think deconstruction, we're just going to blow it all to hell. You know, we're just going to blow everything up and start new.
Yeah.
You know, and for a lot of people, it's actually not healthy to do that. That there needs to be some breathing time to where you just don't even focus on it.
Yeah.
You know, a couple months or certain time periods where I was so overwhelmed, I couldn't focus on it.
Yeah.
I just figured out me personally.
Yes.
It was. So I totally get that. I think that's wise, to maintain health through the process,
Yeah.
because you can get lost. You know, and you know, the comments that I'm seeing here, you know, much like the puzzle pieces together and whatever have you know, and then obviously just the girls, or just a girl pastor is, you know, be who you want to be, you know, and finding out who you are outside of religion is an incredibly difficult task.
Right.
And timing. I mean, I even went like, do I like to eat this food? Do I, you know, like, what do I like to do? Do I even
Yeah.
want to at that or not? You know, I mean, everything's on the table,
Yeah.
right? So I think that's a great point you just made, about, you know, taking time for you.
Yeah. Because I feel like my whole life has been I've been being told to disconnect from me because my flesh is evil. And I
Yeah,
can't trust myself. I can't trust the feelings inside of me.
yeah,
But really, I need to be in tune with that, and I need to listen. Like just last night, I was taking my daughter somewhere, and I left. I left with her, and I called my husband, and I said, my body just told me to get out of there. And I was I got in the car, and I was just like so thankful that I listened to myself, because I just knew that I needed to leave. I don't know why,
yeah,
but it was just, I don't know. It's just like my intuition has been stifled, and like being able to have it be front and center means so much to me. And I can teach my daughters that
yeah.
as well. So I have hopes to come back to spirituality in some way.
Mm-hmm.
I want I want something there at some point.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
There you.
Right
Yeah.
now, it's all just ruined for me. It doesn't feel safe. It
Yeah.
doesn't feel like at home. So I just need to spend time healing.
No, I totally agree with you. Uh, and when your body tells you that, you have to listen. I know you and I talked before this that, I mean, as I said, I got to the point where the doctor looked at me and said, Brad, your job's killing you. My counselor said, your job's killing you. Something's got to give. And and it's funny because, I got diabetes and all this kind of stuff. I mean, it was
Yeah.
literally just toxic. And so leaving, I've never felt better. Uh, but that sadness or desire, I think, within that there was such a huge part of your life, you miss that spirituality.
Yes.
It's not like it's not like I'm not saying that I want back what I had.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that there's that wonder
Mm-hmm.
that I kind of miss a little bit. So I get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not forcing myself anymore.
Right. Right. And that's the beauty of it, right? I mean, you're not in a box. You're not forcing yourself. You have to investigate what you truly believe.
Right. Right.
And I think that's very brave of you to do, as well as those that are going through the deconstruction process.
Yeah.
I think it's incredibly brave. As much as the religious world may put down those that are deconstructing or say they just need to come back to the church is safe, it's ridiculous. But, it's an incredibly brave thing to do,
Yeah.
to be yourself. So let me ask you this. What advice would you give someone going through deconstruction?
I think I wanted to rush it. I wanted it to be over when I first started.
Hmm.
And little did I know that it was just beginning. um, so I think my advice would be to just, and this is easier said than done, but just be patient and sit with yourself and just be there, be present, be fully present. Ask yourself what you need. Ask yourself what's going to feed you at this point, what it feels at home. And don't pressure yourself to do stuff just because you're supposed to. Like, even if it be the evangelicals telling you to do it or the deconstruction community telling you to do it. I'm telling you to do it right now, but take it or leave it. But just do it. Deconstruction is not one size fits all, and you know that.
Sure.
Everybody's got their own story, their own path. I really loved it at the end of Emily Joy, I think it's Emily, yeah, Emily Joy Allison, her book Church #Church 2. She said, here's where we're gonna part from each other, because I'm gonna go down this road, and you're not necessarily going to walk down the same path as me, but we'll still be together, but just on different paths, because we're taking care of ourselves and we're doing what's best for us. And good luck to you. And I just loved that.
Yeah. 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 What I love about it is it's so foreign to somebody like you or I who's grown up in the church that they don't operate that way. There's
Yeah.
a,
There's
you
so much audacity. There's so much expectation
know,
of what they expect from you. Like the family who was like, telling me that they needed me to talk to their daughter about me leaving. And I'm like, you're the parent. Like, why am I going to do that?
yeah,
But there is just this entitlement.
yeah. I think Leviathan there in his comments, or the comments there,
Yeah.
the community gave me peace after deconstructing. I think that's important.
Yeah.
Funny because after I stopped being a pastor, I went ahead and worked in a cigar. Uh, I know, right? And just fell in love with the people there. I think, man, these people are actually cool, right? I mean,
Yeah.
these are cool people. They don't
Yeah.
expect, what church people expect. And so I love that, and there was a piece to that, a healing time. I
Yeah,
wasn't surrounded by religion per se.
right. Because
So
you've always
yeah,
been warned. You've
yeah,
been warned of the world.
I know, right? And
And
at
then you find all these people
the
and you're
world is,
like, oh, I love you.
I know, right? Let me embrace you and give you a big hug. Oh, I mean, I just love the people. I do. You know, and you don't feel like they're trying to always sell you something or
Yeah.
whatever them, right? Um,
I've just experienced a lot of patience and like, you know, I was someone who was very hesitant to get vaccinated because I was told that it's the mark of the beast
oh, it's
and
not.
that there was just so much fear mongering around it for me, and I struggled with it for quite some time. And I actually made a post about it on my page, and I was like, I am just here with this. And I
Yeah.
got so much compassion and so many people offering to um be there for me. And like that's like a really racy topic at this point, like saying I don't know if I'm going to get vaccinated and here's why. And thankfully since then I have been, and I feel like so much peace with my decision. But I really do owe a lot of it to the deconstruction community for like supporting me through that. And that was just like one of the smaller like examples of the support I've been given by the people in this
Oh,
community.
very cool. So, what are your now that you're going through this deconstruction process? You're kind of taking a breather and focusing on yourself, which is awesome. Um, what's your next step? Do you? What are your future goals?
um I really want to write a book. I feel
Hmm.
like everybody who goes into deconstruction says that, but I really do.
Well, it's because that story is so real, and you want other people to know they're not alone
Yeah,
at the time, right? So, okay, so you want to write a book?
I really want to write a book.
I would buy that book.
Thank you, thank you. I'll let you know when it's out
Mhm.
in the next 5 to 10 years.
I,
Um,
yeah. All right.
but more in more close range, I'm going back to school because I really would like to get a degree in social work and hopefully eventually become a therapist that is that specializes in religious trauma. That's kind of like I want to be doing that by the time I'm 50.
Okay. Very cool. That's awesome. You know. Um, and um, do you have the support of your family? From what it sounds like, for
I
support,
do.
yeah. And so
Yeah.
that's huge when you have somebody that is there to support you.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, okay? Um, if this is even fair to, if you look at me and go, this isn't fair to ask, then I won't. I'll just ignore it, right? So, what for somebody that doesn't have a supportive person and they're single or they're alone, what would you recommend they do, or how would they go about finding that support?
I mean, I think that in this day and age, finding community is more accessible as far as people with smartphones go or whatever it may be. But like finding your new people, I think I still fully believe in manifesting and um, just believing into existence things that you want for yourself. And if you really want to find that community and you're intentional about it, you're going to find it. You're going to
Right.
find people who are going to cheer you on. Like you've done a live, actually you've done several lives with Brian
Yeah.
from Transcend Tradition, and I just eat up the community that he's making.
Yeah. It's
I
really cool. Yeah.
I love our Sunday meetups. They feed me. I feel like I'm learning how to meditate. It's something I've always struggled with, but I've always wanted to do. And
The new age stuff. Very good.
yeah, the woo woo stuff,
The woo woo stuff. All
more connecting with the self.
right. Right. Right.
Um, and just the people that I found there, and it's not a lot, it's like two or three. And I just adore. talking to them about everything.
Mm.
So I think that the people who are making communities and like posting and and like communicating on Instagram and like the DMs, like you can find who your new people will be, and they will fully support broom flying. It's
Same here.
so yeah, that's what I have to say.
That seems what the people that I coach, uh, there's a lot of struggle with finding those people outside the church that their new community.
Yeah.
It because they're in essence starting over,
Yeah.
and wanting to be accepted for who they are, which we all do, which is of course. And so, but I find that in listening to them, there's always that insecurity of wondering, if they will find somebody.
Well,
If
right, and it's you got to put yourself out there again and
Yeah,
be vulnerable with new people, and that's scary.
exactly.
And we're so used to going to a building to find this, and like being in person with people, and for some people that's just not even possible. So I'm just very much about the virtual meetups and the Instagram community, and I just get a lot of life from the people I've met here.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we're going to wrap this up, but let me first say this. Love you, love what you're doing. Okay. If you are not somebody that is part of also your daughter's page, which is Becki's page, you need to hop over there because it's raw. It addresses so many issues that people don't talk about. And I love your honesty with where you fall on those and your challenges, your authenticity, which you come across. So if anybody watching this is not a fan of her page, you need to hop over there and be a fan of her page because it's outstanding. I try to visit it at least a couple times a day. Uh,
Oh,
you know,
Brad, you're making me blush.
oh, stop. No, it's awesome. And it's I want to say it's life-giving to me, because I look and go, I've asked those same questions and I still wrestle with them. I still feel challenged by them. And so I'm challenged by your page because it's not necessarily the negativity or anything like that. It's like, hey, this is what I'm going through. This is where I'm coming out on the other side. So it is something that I just find that fills my soul. So thank you for doing what you're doing. And I just I just love it. And so please hop on over. I cannot wait for your book. I think that's
It'll be
great.
self-titled, also
It'll
your
be
daughters.
it's awesome. It will be great. I'm sure it will. In 5 to 10 years, whenever it comes
Five to
out,
10 years.
5 to 10 years, whatever it is, no pressure.
I'm gonna
No
email
pressure.
you, Brad. You better be my first
Yeah,
customer.
you tell me the minute it comes out, and I'll buy it.
Okay.
Deal. I'll be your
Okay.
first. Um, and we did introductions at the beginning of our first IG live, and then our internet or something went out on the whole thing. So, and for those who don't know, I'm Brad. So I'm a
Hi,
life.
Brad.
Hi, hi. I do life coaching, deconstructing, all that kind of stuff, but also anxiety. I mean, you and I talked a little bit. We both struggle with anxiety.
Yes.
And so on my webpage, my blog, if you go on my link or my bio, you'll find a link. Go to my blog. There's a free anxiety worksheet that they're just some tips and tips and tricks. There we go. Said that well. That may help you out in the process. But thank you again, Becki. I've wanted to talk to you for a while, so I'm excited that we're able to. And I look forward to talking to you again in the future.
Yeah, same here, Brad.
All right. And to everybody joined us, thank you. And I hope that you have a great night. Thank you for all the comments that you have coming in. And if you have any questions for either one of us, feel free to direct message us.
Please.
If I can say that for you too, Becki.
Absolutely.
And we're just here to help and just on this journey with you. So thank you very much. And we'll talk to you later.
All right. Thank you, Brad.
See you, Becky.
Bye, everybody.
Bye bye, everyone.